Hello, everyone. Welcome to All Things Indian Friendly Voices. We have been doing a variety of episodes on different topics. We started with teaching, and then we invited some maestros for the experts for the to talk about music. We covered Hindustani, Carnatic, and Odissi music, but they are the persons who presented the uh, views or their opinions or their experiences as teachers or an experts or a performer. And as we mentioned in the episode regarding the teaching and what are the teachers' perspectives, we also said we will do one for the learners. What are the experiences they do? So today's program is on music, Hindustani music to be very precise, and what are the things that the experience of the learner rather than the somebody who is well accomplished. So to discuss with all our questions and sometimes however silly they are, we have a wonderful friend with us, Suresh.
I thank you, Rajmohan. Uh, we are very happy to welcome Harini Rao. Harini Rao is a performing artist, and she has kindly consented today to talk from a perspective of a student. And of course, we all know that all great artists are always students. So she wants us to give a idea of how learning happens in Hindustani music. Now, Harini, as I would call her, she's a good friend of mine. She's a student and practitioner of Hindustani music. She gives a lot of concerts. She is currently a disciple of three gurus. One, Srimati Swati Fatke. Another is Vidwan Manjusha Patil Kulkarni and Dr. Sandhya Kathawate. Now, she is also a playback singer. She is sung in a very popular song called Okalalana, which I think she is also which was also sung by Shankar Mahadevan, and they both sang together. I think in some program. If I'm not, you didn't. Uh, that became a major hit, and she in fact was awarded as one of
Mm.
the best singers that at that time. It was in the film called Joe Achudananda. So you now have a really a person with a lot of experience as a learner, as a teacher, because she's also founded a small foundation called Ragashri Academy Foundation and Academy, where she teaches vocal music. She conducts classes and organizes concerts and all that. So from a perspective of someone wanting to learn Hindustani music, what are the things to be done? How you develop yourself to come to a concert stage and other things are what we are going to discuss with Harini. And as usual, to start the discussion, I'll ask Rajmohan to start.
Yeah. Harni, just can you unmute yourself so that we will begin? You know what?
Namaste.
I had namaste. So I had a teacher, a wonderful teacher who was a polymath, and he was so frustrated with me as a student. And he said, there is an ocean of difference between you and education. Okay. So more or less, Suresh also, but fate would have that Suresh is teaching now. I don't know what kind of a guts he has to teach. I mean, okay, we tortured people as a student, and now Suresh is torturing uh,
Students.
I don't know, students as teacher. Okay, I don't know what he teaches. Something he's teaching. That's all I know. I mean, most of the things over my head. So, as a learner, I mean, like we are going to ask questions. However dumb you are, please bear with us, and then yeah, try to answer us. Okay, this is about the music. Shall we start the program with you singing something?
Sure.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you very much for having me on this panel. It's quite something to be talking about music because we're all always only singing, and yeah, if we're teaching, then we're talking about the ragas and stuff, but talking about the learning experience and maybe teaching also now is quite it's a nice thing to talk about it as well. So thank you for calling me. And uh, mm, mm, I would just maybe start with a little alap,
Yeah,
Okay.
as any concert would start.
yeah.
I'm able to think of maybe just presenting a little alap in a very beautiful and popular evening rag Yaman.
Ah, okay.
Mm.
Wow,
That's
lovely.
wonderful. Yeah.
That's that's beautiful, and also because it is Yaman and Kalyani, easy for people like me who are more Carnatic trained, not trained, ear trained. Not I'm not really trained, but ear trained to catch the raga. Very nice, very nice,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah. So basically, that okay, we will start with the beginning. Okay, begin with the beginning, and what is when you like in Carnatic music, we have a very formalized structure is there. Sarali Varasai, Geetam, Varnam, and so on. We progress. Is there a does such a structure exist in Hindustani music, or is it varies from school to school, or parampara to parampara, or a guru?
Um, yes, so my answer would be both yes and no.
Mhm.
Because, yes, because if a student is going through the university format, like for example, there is Akhil Bharatiya Gandharva Mahavidyalaya,
Oh,
there
okay.
is Prayag University, and there are a lot of universities through which someone who wants to learn music can get a degree also. And a
Okay.
lot of teachers, a lot of gurus teach in that format. So there is a very structured syllabus that happens. And it's, for example, I have done Visharad from Gandhara Mahavidyalaya. And that is a very structured seven level exam, seven level course. And in the first level, they'll have, it's called Prarambhik. They'll have a lot of, compared to, I mean, it can be comparable with Sarali Versical and more such. But there are very less number of those. In Carnatic, there's a whole book that
Yeah.
has all of
Correct.
these combinations and permutations that most teachers follow when someone starts off learning. So in this, there are it's a very small set of swaras that are taught, but some gurus and teachers go that extra mile and teach something called paltas, and those are basically long alankaras. And okay, the first level they are called alankars. Mm. Like for example, a design of 1 2 3 2 3 4 3 4 5, mm, like I'll just keep doing quick demos.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. Please.
Sa re ga re ga ma pa ma pa tha. Also, the difference again lies in the raga that is chosen for Carnatic and Hindustani. In Carnatic, it is Maya Madava Gauda Ragam, which is kind of similar to Bhairav.
Correct.
But in Hindustani, they use the Shuddha Bilawal, which is all natural notes. Sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa. This. So there is, so again, the nomenclature is different in Hindustani and Carnatic.
Correct.
Shuddha is the natural sound, which is sa re is Shuddha, and Komal is the flatter version of
Whatever.
the
Yeah.
same swar. Like sa re would be Komal re, a Komal Rishabh. So yeah, all Shuddha swars are used, and a very limited set of alankars are prescribed as syllabus.
Mm.
But if someone had to go beyond the exam format, then the teachers could maybe come up with more designs, and it's more like it's a nice brain teaser, it's a puzzle. And in fact, I myself, I do not train or coach for exams, because I myself, I hate exams. So I wouldn't want anybody else to go through what I don't enjoy doing. So yeah, so in when I am teaching, I mean, the kids and I, we are always, in the beginning, we play around a lot with these patterns. So we encourage each other to come up with their own combinations. Like for example, I ask them to use 1 2 3 4s instead of thinking in saregamas. So this also was, I saw that, okay, I'm going the right way when I saw even Shankar Mahadevan encourage his students at the academy to do it that way. So we use 1 2 3 4s instead of saregamas. So for example, we would come up with something like 1 2 2 3 2 3 3 4, stuff like that. So that would convert to sa re ga ga ma, and so on.
Mm.
And slowly we'd go a little more complicated. Like we'd go maybe 1 2 1 3 2 1 3 1 3 2 4, for example. So that would just convert to sa re ga ma ma ga re ga ma pa, stuff like that.
Okay. Okay.
So so it encourages people who are just getting introduced to music to even have a little fun with it, try different things and see if they're able to sing the right swar and call out the right name of the swar also. Like
Mm.
it should not be like they're singing ma but saying pa.
Mm.
So it all brings them on to that track as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
And a few people would also just go beyond this and think of the sound of raga, because end of it, Hindustani classical music is all about raga and the exploration of it.
Okay.
So they introduce ragas quite soon, especially if they feel that the person who is seeking to learn um, has that knack to grasp soonish, or has sur already in their minds, and they're able to sing it as well. Whatever is on their mind, they're able to sing it in the same pitch and be in sur or in shruti.
Okay.
So some people, they might just go ahead with rags and teach a few bandishes. So in fact, even the exam system is designed in a way like that. So the first year would be
Okay.
just Bandish, and Bandish are literally four lines, two lines of Sthai and two lines of Antara,
Mm.
and then the song is over. And in fact, I find that a little disadvantageous as compared to the Carnatic music style, because as a child and even till now, if someone has, if I'm with, like, for example, my cousins, they're all Carnatic students
Teachers.
and musicians. So they would, I mean, when we were kids, we'd all meet for summer holidays and stuff. And at any gathering, they'd be like, okay, now you sing a song. And they'd be like ready with a 10-minute presentation, or it's like a proper, beautiful piece of poetry, and they're able to present it. If I had to sing something classical, I'd literally have just four lines, and they'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
that's it. Now I can't even start singing a lot of alap and tane, right? Because this is
Yeah.
this is a house gathering.
Correct.
I
Correct.
mean, we have to like come up with things that are quick
or or
and
or maybe you'll have to sing some old Hindi song which is based on a
yeah,
raga.
but yeah, but that still isn't classical, right?
Correct.
Because
Correct.
they're all curious to understand what we
What
are
you learned.
learning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That spirit. Can you sing a small bandish in any rag you want? A small
Okay.
stai and antra. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm, I'll actually sing a Yaman Bandish only. I'll do a
Okay.
Vilambit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm, Eri man mane na amora darasa bina ek pala achina eri manamane बिरह बिथाकी कथा कहूँ कासे राम रंग वीर भई दोनों दीना ये
Wow.
मनमानी.
Very nice.
Oh,
Very
very
nice.
So
good.
if I sing
Lovely.
this, thank you. If I
I
sing
know.
this in a family gathering, they'd be like, where does the song start? Where does it end? What are
Very-
you doing?
yeah, I know.
Right. So
And
it's
and in some concerts I've seen till very long time. I remember. I think one of the uh, Mansoor concert, Mallikarjun Mansoor concert. He just sings a stai almost till the end, and only in the end he sings at antra. I mean,
yes.
even he doesn't even come to the antra. Like I think
Oh,
Man in a Career or something. That's one line he keeps singing.
yes. This is a very popular or maybe unpopular thing that a lot of maestros do. In
uh,
fact, Dr. Prabha Atre, who
yeah.
is my guru's guru,
Okay. Okay.
she advocates this a lot. She asks, okay, you are exploring a raga. Why do you need these words? So that is quite. I mean, it's a valid thing to say,
Yeah. Yeah.
but also maybe it isn't, because you need something to hang on to, and
Correct.
for the
Correct.
audience to hang on
Mm.
to
So
feel
true.
the raga, to express themselves through words.
Mm.
So
But
so the,
I had just sorry to interrupt, but I heard this discussion actually on Mr. Arun Dravid. I think he's Kishore Amonkar's very eldest student, and he gave a lecture on appreciating Kishore Amonkar's music, and in that he said Kishore Amonkar as such. What he said that some people had the same argument that you told, right? Why are the words needed? But he he said Kishoritai was very, very clear that words are important and they should drive the way the raga was developed. I think there are two different
Yes.
concepts in Hindustani. Some feeling that I remember he said some old artist, and then she said, "What's the big deal? I would sing some names from the telephone directory or something. It should still be."
Yeah. But Kishori was something. I mean, entirely different, right? I mean, she
Yeah,
was coming on. I mean, a different world altogether.
Yes.
yeah,
But when
Like
my
a
first,
rule breaker as well. Because a few ragas, if one has to learn,
correct.
I am not, because I have been told by my gurus to listen and appreciate, but not learn it because it's not in the purest form apparently.
Oh,
So I
okay,
might, yeah. So I mean, I have heard my gurus say it to me. So there are also these favorites by, of gurus who want you to listen, one for learning
yeah,
and the other for
enjoyment.
presenting. Yes, and the third for enjoyment. So there
Yeah,
yeah,
are categories of artists
correct.
that people want you to do as a student.
Yeah.
You that they want you to listen to as a student. Yes.
Yeah,
yeah.
and I wanted to ask you this. See, you sang in Yaman. I had two questions. One was you said Shuddha Bilal is generally taken, but I also heard people say that Yaman is also taken as one of the earlier ragas to teach to students, right?
Yes.
In some
Yes.
schools, I think they teach Yaman first.
So Yaman, yeah, they teach it as a raga, but I'm not sure they do it for alankars.
Oh, okay,
Or
okay.
yeah,
I got your point. I got your point.
yes,
So second thing
because
coming.
the raga itself is like that. It might sound sampurna, but
Uh,
then the aro does not, you cannot sing straight sare gama padani. That is
that
mere gama dhanita. So that
okay.
can confuse a student as they're learning things for the first
Oh,
time.
okay,
So it
could be
makes
that.
sense to have complete sare gama padani and sani dava magaresa
Oh,
to
okay,
make
okay.
those designs and
That's yeah.
yeah.
Now, coming to the same thing, staying on this topic of raga. See, we had you would have also seen right earlier. We had a similar this thing. Now, in that, the master told us that some ragas are considered to be difficult. They teach you much later, and some are considered to be easy. So, Dhananjay Hegde, Pandit Dhananjay Hegde was speaking to us. Now, the question is from your point of view, as when you were learning, which were the ragas that you were taught earlier and which are supposed to be easier for the student, and which is considered to be the more difficult one where you take a few years before you can attempt the raga?
Yes. In fact, again, I'll come back to the same point of an exam syllabus that was
Ah, okay,
designed.
okay.
So, because my teacher taught me in the exam way.
Oh, point of view. Okay, okay,
Yeah. So I have learned it that way. But
okay.
of course, Gaiki and presentation came in much later for me.
Right.
But she always also had an yearly annual concert by all
Okay.
students. So we also had that little chance of understanding how a raga is presented. So coming back to the question, first, all of these ragas which are very, very straightforward and ragas which do not sound like any other raga, those
Ah,
ones are introduced.
Okay.
okay.
So when the raga is difficult, that means it comes with a lot of restrictions.
Ah,
So, I mean, that is how I have understood it, and that is how I perceive a raga as easy or difficult.
okay.
So, for example, the most popular or rather unpopular group of ragas for a student are Kedar, Hamir, Chayanat, Kamod.
Okay.
And yeah, I think these four, they all have the same swars going on, only there are a few phrases that change. Again, there is Sohni, Marwa, and Puriya, which
Ah,
have the same Aro Avro, but the Vadi Samvadi are
correct.
changed. Vadi
Correct. Correct.
Samvadi are the most important swars
Sure.
and the swars on which one can rest also. Those are different.
Hmm.
Um,
I think
and
same thing he was mentioning about Deskar and Boop.
exactly.
Yeah,
So Deshkar and Bhoop have literally the same Aro Avro, but
I know.
the phrases that are used are very different. One is Purvang Pradhan, one is Uttarang Pradhan, and one has to be so cautious and wary that they do not mix.
I
Yeah,
know.
so those are the difficult ragas. That is why Bhoop becomes difficult when you learn Deskar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, or
I was
Shuddh
I
Sarango, Shuddh Kalyan as
yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah. I was actually in this one of these programs, I told that joke. Someone told his friend, it seems two bachelors speaking to each other. One guy asked the other, "Should I make rasam or sambar today?" He said that you first make it and then we will name it later after tasting it. Right?
Yeah.
So you shouldn't. So some ragas are like that, right? Only after they sing, they will think that they are doing boob, but they will end up singing Deshkar.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I think even things like Malhar and the prakars of Kannada will have all these sort of issues, right?
Yeah. In a way. But yeah, I think even those get a lot of clarity
Okay,
I mean, as compared to these other ones, which literally
okay,
have the same source.
same. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, now, okay, just please forgive me and forgive us. Okay, as a person who has no trained ears, no ears at all to music,
Mhm.
I am from south of India. When okay, I should blame Doordarshan for this. And those days, I'm coming from the era of cassettes, audio cassettes, and the play playing of Hindustani music, vocal. I'm telling, just vocal will terrify people from that. I mean, what is this? What is this person doing? And when the Doordarshan came, all we saw every Thursday they used to play. Suresh, was it for Friday? They
I'm
used to
not too
play,
sure, but it was there. I don't
yeah,
remember the
something,
day.
yeah. So the one
Uh,
hour of something like that, the man is going to explode. Especially, I mean, whenever they play Bhimshan Joshi, we all used to go mad. I mean, we used to laugh. And okay, nowadays, even Carnatic musicians also started doing this. I never seen this kind of jerking of the body and a person. I mean, very famous Carnatic singer. I mean, probably he wanted to be a bowler. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he was. He wanted. He was a batsman. Probably. I used to play in the same team or opposite team. I know. Yeah, I remember he was trying to bowl leg spin and all. So all the googlies and all that he is doing. But most of the ordinary people will not understand that music itself is a performance, a body and mind put together through in motion. Uh, is that the case? And if that is the case, do you undergo any kind of learner of Hindustani music? Do they undergo any kind of a training for voice culture? Or, I mean, like when you sing a particular raga, your hand and head and all these things should go together. Like in Kerala, there is a restriction. You mentioned restriction. In Kerala, they should not sing or anything straight. It seems there is a tradition where you have to sing like an old man who's going to die, but he was left in the winter somewhere in Siberia. His voice is all like this. I mean, I don't know. Is that a case? I mean, do you undergo some kind of a training like this to make your voice come out like that?
or yeah,
Um,
more like how do you develop a voice culture,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah. How
in
do you
in
develop? Yeah.
in
yes.
Hindustani music, especially from a Carnatic musician's perspective, we find that the voice culture there is much richer and range is uh, probably slightly larger than Carnatic music type of thing. I'm not sure if my friends will agree with me, but I personally feel that way. So, what sort of voice culture and other things go on with
So honestly, I mean, I hear a lot of questions in that one
Right,
statement
right.
you had mentioned. I'm going
Okay,
to
well,
talk
okay.
about
Simply,
all of it.
simply, how do you develop a trembling voice and whole body which is always in perpetual shaking? How do you develop that?
Honestly, I have no answer to that one. But one
Okay,
thing I can definitely say is that there is no training.
No,
okay,
Yeah, that is given to
that has
us.
to come on to us.
Yeah, to do that shake. Okay, there is no such training. I think that is the genius of the performer.
Yeah.
but I mean, seriously,
So
Suresh, you also must have heard when the same thing Bhimsham Joshi is singing Tumak Tumak, and
Correct,
then
correct.
Kishore Yamunkar, he doesn't do all these gimmicks.
Hmm, hmm.
I mean, I think probably there must be some schools which are probably training people like that. Some Gharanas must be.
or let it put it this way, Rajmohan, they are all self-trained.
Yeah.
Yeah,
see, a lot
yeah,
of
but
times I feel that the performer is so involved that they lose, you know, any
yeah,
any control.
inhibition. Yeah.
yeah, they're not inhibited anymore at all because they're so lost in raga. And they have become the raga. So if the tan
Correct.
is going super fast, they would do something with their hands or something with their
Yeah.
head, right? Because they don't even care about things anymore. They don't care about
Correct.
how they're
Correct.
appearing. So yeah, but there, on that note, I must also say that we are taught in theory there is a whole topic about gayak ke gun dosh. It
Mm.
Oh,
means
okay.
what
Okay.
are,
Mhm.
yeah, so how a singer must present their song and
Mhm.
their look as well. So
Wow. Okay.
they're asked to not open our mouths extremely wide.
Oh, okay.
Again, it shouldn't be too closed as well.
Close. Yeah. Okay.
You shouldn't be using your jaw when you're singing. But
Hmm.
then there is a Tana style that is called Jabda Tan, which literally
Okay.
means a jaw tan. So where your
Oh.
jaw is moving to sing the tan,
No,
right?
for the benefit of our viewers, can you please sing both?
Oh
Yeah,
my
moving.
God. Oh my
Yeah.
God, that's quite difficult because I have never practiced the Jabda Tan.
Yeah, but it's
Because
okay. I mean, we are just, this is just informal. So yeah.
okay, it's going to be a small little comic relief for
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
Mm. Ah. This is a regular tan.
Mhm.
Ah. Can you see my jaw moving?
Yeah.
So this would be a jabda tan.
Correct. Correct.
But then
Okay.
tans are designed in a way that the jabda has to be used. So
Ah, okay.
I have not honestly practiced any of those, so I cannot present
Mm.
it. But yeah, that is how it will appear visually.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay.
some people can also hear it when you're doing that. Ah, la, la, la. That's the kind of sound that comes.
Correct.
But we
Correct.
are also, again, on the contrary, we're also asked to have the akar very, very clear as we're doing the tans.
Mhm.
The same thing can be done with the jabda also. Like that. So
Ah, I see. I
there's a
see.
difference in sound when a jabda tan is done, right? So
Correct.
this
Correct.
is part of, I mean, though it's a whole style of singing a tan, it's also they're also advised against using the jaw. So
Okay.
it's like uh, quite contradicting.
Okay.
Then it's also yeah yeah there's a whole list of things which I cannot think of right now. But yeah,
No, but how did you practice? How did you develop your own voice culture? Is there any specific practices your guru gave you?
well, yes. So honestly, I feel it's a very modern thing to do voice culture
Ah, okay,
in
okay,
classical
okay.
music. If you talk to
Correct.
a Puritan, if you talk to a purist of classical music, an old timer, a maestro, they would say, "What voice culture? What are
Yeah,
you talking
yeah,
about?"
Yeah.
They wouldn't
yeah.
even
That's
know
true.
it, or they wouldn't even care about it.
Correct.
So but now it's a very modern thing, and I feel it's a very, very useful thing as well because that helps you strengthen your breath, strengthen your voice, sing bass notes as well as high notes. And a lot of people just have that natural beauty in their voice that they can sing 3 octaves effortlessly.
Yeah.
Some people need that extra exercise
Accessories.
to do it. Like for example, I definitely need it.
Okay.
I have to practice a few warm up exercises before I do a concert or before I just start my day in music. I have to do my exercises, and I see a clear difference in the way my voice behaves when I do the exercises and when I don't.
Ah, I see.
So,
I see.
yeah, personally, I mean, I really feel it's a very personal thing. So,
Okay.
personally, for me, it works.
Ah,
For a
Okay.
very
lot of
good.
people, they don't need it.
Ah,
So,
okay.
they're just blessed with great vocal
Yeah.
health and
Now, I
stuff.
just wanted to ask you, but because you spoke about that Jabdatan thing, right? I remember hearing something very similar when Mallikarjun Mansur sings
Yes,
sometimes,
yes,
and
yes.
I also think he sings the other way, that they call it mukbandi or something. They actually close their mouth and sing out a
Yes,
tan. The
that is
one
a
you said you
yeah, that
shouldn't
is
do,
a
but
style as well.
that again is
Yeah.
a
So, like I said, there are absolutely different opinions of gurus. Uh, when they are performing artists and when they are
That
teaching for an
teachers.
exam,
Oh,
because theory comes in play when it is for exams, and it
hmm.
is mostly not for performers. So
Oh,
if one has to be a performing artist, I feel exams will definitely add to their repertoire, because there are a set number of rags that are covered for each level.
okay,
So
okay.
you'll at least have a familiarity of of those rags, and then you can choose the sounds that you really enjoy and the rags that maybe sound great in your voice and your style of singing, and
Hmm.
you can practice those, and involve elements of gaiki, that
Hmm.
is performance in
Okay,
those.
okay,
So that way there are definitely advantages
okay,
of the exam style of learning.
okay.
But yeah, like I was saying, different gurus have different ways of
Different views of
singing and teaching.
okay.
Yes.
Now the same thing, Harini. I just wanted to expand on this. For example, you were talking about raga and how to grasp a raga and expand the raga. So in Carnatic music, before you start raga alapana, you may learn 3 4 kritis in that particular ragam, and that sort of gives you an idea of the raga, at least how to develop. But in Hindustani, as you said, it just a sthai and antara, the very small. They don't really give you. How does one learn to develop a raga? For example, just maybe you can sing as a raga. Maybe you already sang as Yaman, but let's take another raga of your choice. Just tell us which raga it is and show us how you expand and how you learned that. How did you learn to say expand a raga? I'm sure with different gurus it may be different, but what sort of techniques do you use to expand on a raga?
Okay. So, first of all, Bandish, the way they're designed, though they may be just 4 lines,
Hmm.
the way they're designed is that the gist of the raga, the entire ras juice of the raga, is part is
Part of the
completely
bandish.
squeezed into that Bandish.
Bandish.
So, if you
Okay.
learn multiple Bandish in a certain raga, you tend to get more and more comfortable and familiar
Oh,
with
okay.
the kind of the chalan of the raga, the
Okay.
gait of the
Okay.
raga, how phrases are used, or what could be the important swars in that raga, because words will also fall and rest at places like that. So by observation, we can actually get a lot about a raga, but of course, you need the guru to explain to you what and how this is
Moving.
constructed.
Yeah.
So let's see. Mm, which one? For example, Madhmad Sarang.
Okay.
Madhmad Sarang is like Vrindavani Sarang, but only it has only Komal Nishad, which is the
The
flat
smaller
knee.
one. Yeah. Hmm.
Yes. Mm, me sa re ma pa ni sa sa ni pa ma re me re me sa. So this is a very straightforward, simple rag. Mm. So for this, I mean, after having a number of years of practicing music, if I was given just the RO of something like this, because it's simple, there's not a lot of complication going on. It's easy to go ahead with the rag. If I'm also told what are the vadi, samvadi of it, what are the nyas swars, so it's easy. Mm, ni sa re ma re ni pa pa ni sa re ma pa pa ma re ma pa ma re ni ni sa ni sa re ma pa ni pa ma pa pa ni sa sa re ni pa re ma re ma pa ma re ni sa. So with a few, years of practice, so it was okay for me to just go ahead with it. So otherwise, it is important that one learns a bandish to understand what could be, like, for example, a very beautiful bandish is "Dhyan dharo." So this dharo pamare. So this is an important phrase you could catch from the bandish.
No, okay.
Guru charanana ko dhyan karo.
Oh,
Guru charanana ko tab hove sache. Surana ko gyan dhyan dharo. So dharo par some, that some
okay.
falls on dharo, which also becomes the most important part of the bandish. So
Hmm.
from there you can pick up all of these little, bits of um, things that are really important for the raga, and you can
So
create and understand how the raga is going.
moving. Okay.
Yes. Otherwise, when someone is learning raga exploration for the first time, honestly, it is like how we all learned ABCD and words. We literally learned spellings and mugged a few things around it. We otherwise, what is the logic behind ABCDEFGH, right? We do not know, but we still just rote mugged all of those things, and then learned how to create words and then sentences. It's literally the same thing with music. The guru teaches a bandish, aro avaro, of course, then the bandish, and then a fixed set of alaps and tane.
Okay. Okay.
They are
Okay.
taught, and it is a good practice, in my opinion, again, to just learn it and just maybe by heart it, because you're being introduced to some a new language here. So it's good to do that. And then as one keeps singing it, you tend to hear it differently each time once you get very, very comfortable with it.
Hmm.
So for example, when I had learned the rag bhoop as my first rag, I thought, okay, this is like a nursery rhyme. I don't see what is special about this bandish. But years later, when I learned a Vilambit in it and then came back to Bhoop, I thought there is so much beauty hidden in it. So for
Hmm.
that, you have to learn the ABCDs first.
Correct.
Learn it the way your teacher has taught you. Rote mug it. There's no shame in it. You learn it like that, and then you can think uh, on your own. It's literally like how you would learn a lesson, a prose, and then go on and write your own essay.
Hmm.
So I have always thought of it like that.
Hmm.
So when people are like, oh no, we have to make our own alaps and we have to make our own tane, for sure, please do. You must. But for that, you have to go through this
Go
thing
to this thing
of
to
being
build.
guided.
Yeah.
You have
So
to
can
have
I?
a guide.
Yeah. Yeah. No. No. Can I ask you to sing that small boob bandish which you initially thought was not so great, but
Oh,
you remember that?
yeah, I do.
Please.
Sare ga pa da ra pa re ga sa लख छवि सावरिया की लख छवि सावरिया आकी मोरी मति भई बावरी दैया मोरी मति भई बावरी दैया लख छवि सावरिया की. So now the way I sing it is also slightly
Yeah.
different from how I must have sung it when I was in first standard. So even back then I was like, okay, what is the difference between a nursery rhyme and this? This is just in a different language. Otherwise, it's the same
Yeah.
grammar, or the way
Yeah.
it's going is so simple. But then now you know that you have to add a certain aesthetic.
Yeah,
You
okay.
any song, any simple bandish also can be a performance bandish, is what I have come to understand now.
Oh, great.
Otherwise,
That's good.
yeah, otherwise we always thought that, oh my God, no, this song cannot be sung on stage. Only
Hmm.
that song can be. But you can convert any bandish into a performance style bandish. Of course,
Hmm.
there are some very,
That depends
very,
on the aesthetics. Yeah.
yeah, and there
Yeah.
are some very, very beautiful bandish by, like for example, Pandit Ramashray Jha's bandish are just too beautiful. And then what I just sang, in what rag was that?
Yaman.
Madhumad Sara. Yeah, that was
Madhumad.
a Pran Piya, Ustad
Right,
Vilayat
yeah.
Hussain Khan
Vilayat
song.
Hussain Khan. Yeah, Vilayat
Yes.
Hussain. Yeah, yeah. Okay,
So,
that I think you had something on listening something, right? You wanted a question. You remember?
No, it's okay. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, okay, what you said is interesting and also slightly disappointing. I thought that,
Yeah.
okay, there was a person called John McEnroe in tennis. Okay, the guy will sleep for 6 hours, 8 hours, and then he'll walk, he'll pick up the bag, he'll come and play. So was sell of the bottom. But all others have to be like what in our place is that those who want to learn vocal music. First thing we always thought of, I don't know, maybe it's because of Telugu movie influence, I don't know what is it. So anybody who wants to learn music, they will be put in the pond or well or lake, deep, deep water at 3 a.m. in the morning. Okay, looks like Hindustani music, Hindustani gurus are not doing that. So maybe I don't know. Maybe the climate is a thing, but you know that. Well, okay. You mentioned very interesting thing that your guru said do not listen to somebody X because that is not a pure form. Okay, no, that reminds me of one this what is it? Very very famous singer, sir. Um, Semmangudi.
Semangudi.
Srinivas was there, late 70s. He gave an interview that today I don't like, I mean, I don't like going into the sabhas because most of the people are listening to some cassettes and all are singing alike, same. There is earlier there was no tape recorder, nobody will go and listen to anybody. So everybody developed their own unique style. I mean, in fact, one worst thing happened after that, according to him, was that they even started copying their guru, even the body movement, everything. So there was no way in which to do it. So what I mean, like in Hindustani music or the restrictions in many forms, not even one form, like it is not a pure form. And like, Shankarabharanam came. After that, everybody started singing all those Kirtanam in the same way in which S.P. Balasubramanian, even in the concert, Sabha, they coming and singing. I don't know. I mean, everything happened, whatever that fellow said became true. Now today everybody is singing alike. So what do you think? I mean, what do you mean? Is it a kind of fear or some kind of a tradition that you will get corrupted by something? Like that.
How do you listen? Yeah. And
Yeah,
before she answers, I also wanted to tell you a small incident. This is again a very famous man, Mysore Vasdavachar, who composed that Kirtana which came in Shankaravarnam, no? Broche Varavarla.
yeah.
So he was learning from Patnam Subramanian, another stalwart, and he had gone to listen to Mahavaidyanath Shivan, who was singing in that same village. But his guru later was very upset with him that he went to listen to who was then supposed to be the competitor and all that. So I think within this context, as Rajmohan says, two things. One, uh, are you not supposed to listen to it? And if you do listen to a lot of things, would that sometimes become a bad influence, good influence?
um, so honestly, none of my gurus have stopped me from listening to anybody's uh,
Okay.
concert or attending anybody's concert. In fact, they have only encouraged to listen to most people's raga. For example, if I'm learning a raga today, I'll be asked to listen to a bunch of people's presentations, because in sometimes in a few advanced ragas, um, there'll be phrases which might not actually traditionally be there in the raga, but then some artist out of their own genius, they might introduce that, and it's always good to pick up a nuance or two from a beautiful artist. And if it is yes, if it falls in that raga, it's always good to add to your aesthetic. But again, like I said, some people have just broken rules and gone ahead. Like for example, Dr. Prabha Atre, though she is, I mean, I am proud to say that I would be in her student lineage because of my guru being her student. She has sung Maru Bihag, and it was like uh, a blockbuster album. It was that LP. It broke all records, and in that she has not sung Shuddha Madhyam at all. But in Maru Bihag, traditionally there has to be a touch of Shuddha Madhyam, and she's been asked about it in a few interviews as well. And she's like, it. I never felt the need of singing that Shuddha Madhyam bit, so I have not sung it, and I've just continued with the Tivra Madhyam, and people have accepted it and in fact celebrated it. But now
Okay.
if I do that in an exam, for example, they're going to
Yeah.
mark me negative on it because that is not raga traditionally and
Yeah.
theoretically. It isn't raga. Exam, okay. If I do it on in a concert also, I might not be accepted that way, right? Because there's also this hierarchy of
Yeah.
artists.
Yeah.
If
Correct.
Pandit Hariprasad Chaurasia starts playing something and feels like adding a foreign note to it, it's just going to be celebrated and everyone's going to applaud it only.
Mm.
I cannot say that on stage sitting there, okay, now I feel like going from Tilang to Jog. And they'll be like, yeah, then do a thumri, do a bhajan maybe, and add all the ragas that you want to, because that becomes semi-classical. But if you're doing a raga, we are expect to stick to it and stick to the bounds of it and play inside it as much as one wants.
No,
So
Okay.
actually, I wanted to ask you something. Like, I mean, Suresh mentioned Brocheva. There was a guy called Raja Iyengar, Mysore, right? He's from Mysore. I don't
Mysore.
remember.
Mysore.
Yeah. First time when I listened, I thought he's trolling everybody. I don't know. He's making fun of everyone. I mean, I could understand what he is doing. And it's a kind of probably, and somebody, I talked to somebody and they, no, that is a pure Carnatic music. What you people are hearing is a corrupted form of music. And I said, yeah, it's like a, I mean, are there any kind of such sects in Hindustani music? I mean, from a learner's perspective, you have a kind of, enjoyment while learning. We should have such people also.
well, while learning, like I said, we are encouraged. At least I have been encouraged to listen to a lot of people. In fact, even to repair a few things that I do wrong, especially in projection, voice projection. Like for
Oh,
example,
okay.
my other guru, Vidushi Manjusha Tai. Uh, so she has always corrected. She still does. She corrects my akar a lot, and she asks me to listen to everybody. And she being a performing artist, a very a star performing artist, she she might not need to say this, but then she has encouraged me to listen to so many artists of her contemporary artists. So
Nice.
she has yes, and
Mm-hmm.
she's also still learning. She's learning from Pandit Ulhas Kasharkar, and she has constantly asked me to listen and watch literally just how they project their voice.
Ah,
So
yes, yes.
this way I feel that Hindustani classical musicians are quite open that way
That way,
to
yeah.
listen to all kinds and pick up
Yeah.
the best or
I
whatever suits
for
there is.
everybody, yes. No, actually,
Yes.
that's happened in Carnatic music also now. I think everybody listens to everybody, and in fact,
Huh.
they go to others to learn something as well. Some
Well,
of
I have had a different experience here. I definitely want to share about it
sure.
because one of my friends and I we wanted to. There is this lady called Manasi Prasad who
Uh,
heads the Indian music experience in Bangalore now.
ah,
So
yes, that's a very nice place.
she
Yeah.
used to be in Hyderabad for a few years. So that time she and I used to go to my guru to learn Hindustani classical music, right? She wanted to also learn a little bit. So both of us used to go together from Srimati Swati Phadkeji. And that time we thought, so she was also learning from Dr. Sriram Parasuram,
Mm.
Carnatic music from him. So she said, why don't we invite him and we'll do a master class? And we thought, yeah, that's a great idea. And we got a lot of stuff going around that. And we thought, okay, let's do this. And we didn't want it to be like an open for all things, because an artist of that stature, that's how we had, imagined, and we thought, okay, let's project it as a master class, keep it a very limited student
Audience.
experience. Yeah, so that even he doesn't feel like he has to start from very basic stuff, right?
Correct.
So we aimed at making it a master class, and honestly, there were more people for Hindustani to learn from him than Carnatic. And then I came to know from someone I was close to who attended that people were discouraging their students to learn
Oh,
from someone
who's
else.
not in the school. Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
so you're
possible.
not,
It's possible.
yeah. So
Mm.
that was literally the first time I came across something like this, and I was honestly quite appalled by it. It is, I
Yeah,
thought it
I
was
know.
an opportunity being served on a platter, that someone of that
Correct.
stature is coming, and because he's so rare, he does a jugalbandi by himself. He
Mm,
sings
correct, correct.
both. I mean, I don't
He's
know.
an he's an extraordinary
Yes,
musician.
absolutely. There may be a
Yeah,
lot of critiques around his performances, but I think it's a thing of great
correct.
brilliance that a single
Yeah.
artist can present both a
Both
Carnatic
these.
and a Hindustani jugalbandi single-handedly.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
wanted to
So
also ask you here, Harini. One of the other aspects of learning is, of course, when you learn the bandish and other, I mean, this alap is one, but the other thing is very important is the thala aspect, right?
yes.
So, of course, that can be obviously, I'm sure, taught more formally. So, how do they teach the thala aspect in Hindustani music? Because the bandish, finally, when you do tan or anything, you have to land at the sum mind.
Yes.
How is this taught?
Um, so honestly, in the olden days, there was always this tabalji who would be there as you would learn a bandish also. But in current times, it is quite expensive to have a tabla artist come
Okay.
and sit through that class while you're still learning
Mm.
something, right? So when I was learning, we had these electronic tablas
Correct.
called Riya's Master.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
it was like a shruti
Correct.
box. It would look
Yeah.
like a shruti box, but it would have a very very mechanical tal going on,
Yeah.
very metallic
Yeah.
sound to it.
Metronomical type of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
it would never compare to a real tabla at all, but still it would just help us to at least be get used to the sam and khali and talis of a certain tal. If we're learning a bandish, we just keep singing to that dabba,
Yeah. Okay.
and every once in a while my guru would invite a tabla artist,
Tabla
and we'd
artist.
get to practice with them. And also, again, coming back to the exam situation, in an exam you have to have a tabla artist play
Oh,
alongside as you do the practical, the viva. So for that there used to be quite intensive practice sessions.
practice. Okay.
So that way we also got a great experience of practicing with a tabla artist, with a live tabla artist. But
Okay.
otherwise, like I said, there was always the electronic version of it, and
Now I
we'd
think
practice.
there are a lot of apps which.
Yes, now we
Hmm.
have some wonderful apps, I think, because especially the ones that run on iOS, the
Hmm.
iTabla Pro is such an amazing app. I mean, a lot of tabla artists are disappointed because
Yeah.
that's literally how real it sounds, and no one's calling them for Riyas. But yeah, but of
Yeah.
course, no electronic
Could
tabla can match up to
match
a
the
real.
actual one. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Yeah.
you tell me, Harni, that I mean, okay, now I'm sorry. I mean, I should not be telling this, or maybe let it so what. Let everybody know. I mean, everybody knows, and okay, let it be on this show also. Nowadays, it's become a practice for parents to put their children for 5 years or 3 years, and then they kind of deal somewhere abroad. Whether you're from Hindustani music, it's you are in Houston or somewhere in Durban, or if you're Carnatic, Cleveland, and other places, California, of course, obviously, and they get you pay some money and you get your first concert. How long? I mean, do you think ideally a student should be a student before going to get perform? I mean, the leap is huge. I mean, what kind of a lot of preparation must be required, a lot of things, practice, we thousands and thousands of hours of practice is required to perform in a stage. But today there is no such thing. I mean, what do you think? I mean, what do you think about I mean, your thoughts on all these things? What's happening around you? And what is your opinion? How well one should be prepared?
Preparation has to be 200% in my opinion, because you're literally representing your guru, you're representing your years of learning, you're representing yourself, the way you think and the way you present yourself, everything. So it's a great responsibility to be on stage, in my opinion. So of course it's a privilege, not everybody
Yeah.
gets that
So
opportunity, it is
how long do you think somebody should actually learn, or how many ragas they should learn, or talas they should learn before they can become a artist? And also, when should they take that leap, or when did you take that leap? Because that's a huge leap, as Rajmohan said. That's a fairly huge jump, right?
yes it is. And I really cannot tell how many years it will take you to anybody to get on stage, because a lot of
Right.
aspects contribute to this.
Correct.
First of all, one has to want to be on stage.
Oh
You
yeah,
have to want to be a performer.
that's true.
Otherwise, you can be an academician. You can be an academic in music. You can be a music critic.
Just
You
be
can,
passion. Yeah.
yeah, you can be a teacher. But to be a performer, it has to have that little. There has to be that little fire in you
Okay.
to want to be on stage.
Correct.
Okay, and secondly, I, I am not sure about, I might ruffle a few feathers there by saying that if you're able to do like a 1 hour piece, Vilambit, a Chota Khyal, maybe another Chota Khyal Rag, maybe a bhajan, a thumri, and you're able to present all of this, and your uh, elders as in your guides and your teachers are are confident that yes, you can handle a 1 hour performance, I think you can do that.
Mm.
But then again, a lot of people have taken years to get there, to go on stage, because it is not like you learn one rag for 1 week and you're ready and you go out there and perform. It isn't that. So for example, I honestly never had this performance kida in my head. I never thought of it. But I saw somebody on stage and I thought, oh, that must be fun. I also want to do this. And then I literally spent 6 months doing only what I wanted to sing on stage. Like I had my playlist ready 6 months before, and I
Oh,
used to
oh.
sing only that repeatedly all day. In fact, my neighbors would be worried that, oh my God, she's singing non-stop
Yeah.
for 6 to 8 hours. Is she not tired? Is she not going to collapse and stuff like that?
And that too,
So
she's singing the same thing.
exactly. So
Has she
I'm sure all
forgotten?
of them have learned it.
I
End
mean,
of
I
it.
mean one dumb doubt. I mean, when you're practicing, you say for 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours a day, same thing again and again. I mean, you go to the bathroom, take bath, and sing the same thing while cutting vegetables or eating. Will you? I mean, okay, are you allowed, or you should sit in a place? Should you sit in a place?
I would be thinking, if I, like, for example, this first ever concert that I did at a public arena
Yeah.
and just me singing, I prepared a lot for it. I prepared so much. I was even thinking about only that. So when I was in the bathroom or when I'm eating, I'm thinking about it. So I'm thinking about maybe a quick tan, or maybe thinking about a behlawa that I can do it this way. But yeah, practice means you sit at a place and do it. I mean, I don't think it's easy to practice in a bathroom.
Okay. Okay.
Maybe you can
Just
think about it,
yeah.
but yeah,
Just
you can't.
just just out of curiosity, which was the rag that you presented that day? The one which you practiced so long.
Bhageshri.
Oh,
I think
Bhageshri.
Bhagesh.
Can
Okay.
you can
Yeah.
you sing it for us?
Yeah.
Can you
Oh
sing
my
it
God.
for us? You remember, because you would
Okay.
now that
I
should be in your
sang it
blood now.
so much that I did not sing it again
Yeah.
after that.
Right,
Like
right.
I'll just start. Maybe demo the first line of it,
Oh,
because
sure, sure. Yeah,
yeah, because I'm not sure
yeah.
how much of it I remember now, though I had sung it. Yes, I practiced it so intensely that
Correct.
I think I was like, okay, this concert is over. I'm not going back to this rag
Yeah.
for some time now, and it's been quite a few years.
Yeah, good.
सखी मन लागे ना काहू जतन पिया मोरा तरना सखी मन लागे ना. This is the bandish.
Ah,
I
very
have
good, very
also
good.
forgotten the words
Yeah,
of
yeah,
them, but yeah, this is what I had sung,
yeah,
and
yeah.
this was in I think 2011 or 12, something like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
very good, very good. Actually, I was about to ask you the same question. How do you prepare for a concert? What are the strategies? So even today, this is the strategy you adopt, is it? You practice a lot of you
Well,
choose the raga beforehand. So this leads me to the next question. Probably we'll probably finish after this or something.
Yeah, yeah. This must be a final question. Yeah.
Yeah. So here the thing was, see, how do you prepare for a concert in the not in the sense of uh, what do you call how you practice beforehand, but in the sense of, do you know, suppose this is the venue, this sort of rag would resonate, what sort of audience would do, and have you gone prepared like that, and you have seen audience resonating to it, and sometimes if they are not so resonating, do you change next time to a different rag, or how does that one happen? Of course, this has gone beyond the student experience to the
yes.
concert experience,
Yeah.
but would like to know this.
So yeah, definitely I do not prepare. I mean, it's not a good thing, but I'm confessing to it right now that I did not prepare the way I did for my first concert. I do
Yeah,
not
yeah,
do a 6 month thing because I cannot
yeah,
even do
I know.
it
Yeah, I know.
right now, right? Because
Not practical.
concerts
Yeah,
and invites come in like maybe a month before or a few weeks before. So I'll have to
correct.
quickly plan it and think of it. And sometimes I just decide maybe a week before because I'll have prepared something, and then I'd learn a new raga and I'd love that sound so much that I'll say, okay, change. I'm doing this raga like this more now, and and pick that up. So, but coming to your question of choosing the playlist as per the audience or the venue, yes, definitely. If I'm doing a very private concert, if it's a Baithak, I would definitely choose not very let's say, for example, I've done a few Baithaks in which the audience is very, very limited and it's very, very intimate, and people are in front of you and you can feel
Correct.
the vibe. So in places like that, in fact, there is a lot of parmaish also. I've
Mm.
also been asked to sing a few things. So yeah, that time everything goes out of control, and we just yeah, I just sing
Just
whatever
flow,
they
just
they
flow
want
with it.
me to.
Yeah,
Yes, go with the flow. But a few very prestigious sabhas and
concerts. Yeah.
a very discerning audiences for whom I have sung. For them, I have definitely planned well in advance, and I choose ragas which are both, they are great sounding as well as slightly cerebral as well, because
Oh yeah.
I know they're going to enjoy if I do something with that. So
Ah,
it also lets me practice. But of course, first and foremost, I think for anybody who is now going from transitioning from student to performer should definitely always keep this in mind, that do not think about how challenging a rag is and how skillfully one has presented it, but how comfortable they are with that rag.
Yeah.
So that is why I chose Bhageshri, though it is literally taught in your first year of learning music.
Okay.
Bhageshri is one of the very, very basic rags that are
Basic
taught.
rags,
But then it is so beautiful, it is so
correct.
madhur and sweet sounding. And there is no basic rag, there is no complicated rag. It
Exactly.
really
Yes.
is about how one presents it and
Yeah,
how the
yeah.
audience is
Like,
responding to it.
yeah. Yeah, I
And
mean, Amir Khan sung such a beautiful Bhageshri, right? So
exactly,
fantastic, fantastic.
Kishoritai Bhoop is
Yeah,
still celebrated so much.
correct,
And
correct. Yeah,
and that's the first rag that is taught. Not a lot
yeah.
of people sing Bhoop,
This
but
is
that's
the
quite the
amazing
sad
one. Yeah.
reality. Yeah.
Mm. So,
But
yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Irene. Yeah.
yeah, so yes, I really feel that one has to be absolutely comfortable with a rag to be able to express themselves the best also.
Best one. Yeah.
So
Correct.
maybe after a few performances and you get used to the stage and you enjoy being on stage, you can start experimenting with what kind of rags you choose,
You want to choose,
what you want to present, and maybe surprise the audience. All of
correct.
those things can
Yeah,
come
yeah, I
eventually.
know.
But
Correct.
first, I feel one has to be very, very
Comfortable.
comfortable.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
and
let
should be able to enjoy the sound of the ragas that
as
they
I
choose.
say. So let me do one thing. Typically, Harini, what I do is I conclude this by summarizing the whole thing. But you've spoken so well. What I thought was, like this time alone, Rajmohan, as an exception, what we'll do is
You
we'll
sing.
ask Harini to sing one Bhairavi, which generally ends their concert, right? A
Right.
small Bhairavi, so that
Okay.
people
We
will
will
go
end.
back listening to her voice than mine,
Yes.
and they'll be more happy.
Yeah. That is wonderful. That is wonderful. Yes.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you. Bhairavi also is one of my most favorite rags.
Okay.
Mm. Mm. Talking and singing isn't
Yeah, I
quite my
know.
forte.
Yeah, yeah. I understand.
Mm.
But you've been doing well till now, so that's good.
Yeah.
Very well.
But I assure you, I sing better than how I sound right now.
No, no, no. I've listened to you, so that's not an issue. Yeah. Mm.
Mm.
Ah, mm, mm. Wow.
भवानी दया भवानी दयानी महा वाकवानी सुरनर जनमानि सकल बुध ज्ञानी भवानी दयानि भवानी दयानि महावाक वाणी सुर नर मुनि जनमानि सकल बुध ज्ञानी भवानी दयानि भवानी जगत जननी जगत जानी जगत जननी जगत जानी महिषासुरमर्दिनी ज्वाला मुखी चंडी अमर पददानी भवानी दयानि 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 दयानि
Wow, that was excellent. That was excellent. So with that, as I promised, I'll not do any conclusion. I'll first thank you for your time and excellent singing. It's really a pleasure interacting with you, and both of us wish you a very, very successful career. And once again, thanks, Rajmohan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank. It was wonderful having you here, Harini. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. All the best.
All the
Thank you
best.
so much.
Yeah.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.